Today on the Topping Show, Elon Musk on the mainstream media increasing their race-related news by 700% and going viral. Biden reads his speech instructions out loud. TikTok bill has been signed into law. Vivek on the U.S. Foreign Affairs Committee wearing an Israeli and Ukrainian lapel pin, but no U.S. flag. Footlocker is going to have a redesign of their stores. TikTok to stop paying users to stare at their phone. Detroit squatter goes viral, even stealing their electricity from their neighbors. And Omaha Packing Company has a recall. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Footlocker to redesign some of their stores in an effort to boost sales. Now, this comes to us thanks to LinkedIn News, specifically a gentleman by the name of Bobby Armstrong wrote this article. They note, quote, Footlocker's next step, a redesign. They note that Footlocker is stepping into the future and hoping to stem a sales downswing with a redesigned store. The sneaker retailer recently announced its first of 5 stores of the future. Ooh, that sounds fancy. Which will feature a quote-unquote drop zone for new releases and a sneaker hub for customization. A drop zone. I thought that was with records, like when you drop an album, which when I was young, I thought you meant like you just drop a CD on the ground, which, I mean, some of those CDs you probably should have because it's terrible music, but in reality, it's actually just dropping. It means to debut with something new. Now, custom section is also going to be great for their sales. They note that the athletic apparel company, which earns more than 80% of its revenue from 2,500 stores around the globe, has $8.2 billion in annual sales in its last fiscal year, but that was down 7% from the previous year. They have also spent around $242 million on the redesign and intends to spend another $200 million on real estate project this year, according to their filing with the SEC. Now, the CFO, Mike Bond, expects the company's profitability goal detailed CEO Mary Dillon's lace-up strategy revealed in March 2023 to be delayed by 2 years to 2028. Now, granted, having a strategy called lace up, I mean, that's just on point for a shoe company or shoe reseller company. That makes sense. Now, one of the most fascinating things in terms of business is retail. There's a whole science on why they redesign stores, the layouts of everything. It's down to a science. He's gotten to the point where they have done multiple studies where they found that consumers will spend, I think it's 1.3% more if they shop in a clockwise pattern around a store, which sounds crazy, but somehow it works. Not to be a contrarian, but I always shop in a counterclockwise methodology. But I partially digress. With Footlocker, having the drop zone for new releases, that will help, but really, the customization is really where I think they're going to make a lot more of their more profitable things, because people are willing to pay more for a custom product so they can say they have, their very own shoe design. So not only does it build more value in terms of they're more profitable for the company, but it's also going to have more brand affiliation to say, hey, I went to Footlocker, I customized my shoes there. That's a unique experience that they can actually tie more directly to that store. Other good news for Footlocker, we reported earlier this year, Nike is kind of swinging back the pendulum to work with more partners like Walmart and Footlocker who sell the products on their behalf, aka the indirect sales model. Whereas during the pandemic, the big tech boom, everyone was talking about going direct sales. So Nike was investing heavily, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars into having the ability to sell directly to consumers via mostly their website and some of their stores. But now they're starting to swing back to their partner ecosystem, which, granted, a wise economist by the name of Tom Sewell once said there's no such thing as solutions, only trade-offs, because very true. Nike will make a little less money when they're selling through Footlocker, but they also are now indirectly employing hundreds of thousands of sales representatives. Nike doesn't have to pay to put these stores up. They're able to remove some of that risk from the Nike area. So I suspect this will be exceptionally good news for Footlocker. And the redesign, it looks pretty clean. I was going to say, it's kind of cliches, but it's not your grandpa's Footlocker. Although they better still sell New Balance if that might want me to go there. I wouldn't, but So, I don't know, to me, that's the more legacy logo that when I was a kid kind of grew up with. Got a little more soft edges. If you're just listening to audio, you don't see it. Let me know, when's the last time you actually shopped at Footlocker? And what's the compelling reason to go there? Again, nowadays the brick and mortar, that's usually the biggest challenge is how do you give consumers a compelling positive reason to actually go to your store when, again, e-commerce is so plentiful. And as we know, to the statistics right there, an overwhelming majority of their revenue comes from e-commerce. Or sorry, take that, reverse it. An overwhelming majority of the revenue actually comes from the stores, 80%. So that's huge. So it'll be interesting to see, do you think this will help revamp the store sales? I think it will to a certain degree. It's hard to turn that trend around with people, the decreasing sales, but this might help. Let me know in the comments. I would be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.